they're going to be just fine, Dana. They have a house in Martha's Vineyard that they were able to, obtain through the $100 million and the book deal. So I don't think anybody's losing sleep over, the position that they're in.
I mean, Peter, as much as they push climate change, you would think that they wouldn't have a house on the water. And it's recording, Dana,
No,
on
yeah,
on
no, I'm
on
recording.
Twitter.
I'm recording on my desktop. So yeah, so I just pressed record. All right. So government shutdown has been averted. Chuck Schumer folded his punk ass, right? Because he didn't. The Democrats, they're crashing out. They cannot take another law saying that they are the cause of the shutdown. And Michelle Obama is grifting with her new podcast with Miss Gray, honey.
Dana, the Schumer shutdown. What is most hypocritical and funny at the same time is that the spending bill the CR is exactly the same CR that the Democrats pushed in September and voted for and pushed in January before Trump was inaugurated and voted for. And now all of a sudden they want to say it's a bad spending bill, blah blah blah. What changed? Just the only thing that changed was Trump.
Yes, and they can't stand Elon Musk. See, they can't stand the fact that he's in charge of Doge. That's why they wanted to vote it down and not have it passed. So Chuck Schumer, he really wanted to have a 30-day extension. What do you call that? Vote cloak something vote?
Cloture.
Closure?
Cloture.
Cloture vote. But it wasn't going to work. And their gripe is Doge. Now, mind you, Trump said it. Doge is only going to be relevant for 2 years. That's why they're hitting it hard now and, just getting exposing everything because he only got 2 years.
I mean,
So,
if you've been following along, the reason why they're they're so upset, like Elon said in one of those interviews, he said is the people who are grifting the most and scamming the most are the ones that are the loudest, and that's why you see they don't want all the sheets to be lifted to see all the bed bugs where the both Democrats and Republicans, the uniparty is a real thing, where all that money was funneled out to NGOs, and then it all comes back. Why do you think they want to keep the Ukraine war going so they can keep the money goes to the Defense Department, it gets sent out, and then it somehow comes back into the corrupt politicians' pockets, and that's how they get so rich off of $100,000 salaries.
exactly. A
And what
lot.
was so scary, I watched something on Tucker earlier today. Which, Douglas McGregor, former general or retired general, was talking about how there's Javelin missile systems on the Mexican border right now that are in the hands of the cartels. Those things can bring down commercial airliners. So, and these are the weapons that we directly gave to the Ukrainians that ended up in cartel hands and the Russian hands. So this is a major, major issue. It's a national security issue, and I'm glad that what's going on is going on.
Well, they were talking a lot of mess about this bill. Oh, they're cutting food stamps and food programs for children and schools and single mothers. They're cutting Medicaid and Medicare. They're cutting veteran benefits, and that's not true. They're not cutting Medicaid or Medicaid. They're actually giving an additional $6 billion to veterans health care, which is needed. They are slashing the IRS enforcement agencies that Joe Biden hired to be armed IRS agents. They're slashing that, but they're allocating billions of dollars for deportation, the immigration, illegal migrants deportation, as they should. So Representative Massey, he's in the House. He's a Republican bill, not because he was siding with the Democrats. He felt as though you ain't cutting enough. You really made one or two things. You're not cutting enough. So I want more cuts. And that's why he voted against it, but it still passed the House. And now, when it goes to the Senate, I knew it was going to be a different ball game in the Senate. But I think Chuck Schumer, because he first came out and said, we are not going to agree. And then he changed his mind. Something must have happened behind closed doors for him to come back and say, we're going to we're going to support this bill. We're going to support the bastards bill. That's what he called the Republicans.
Well, Dana, what I don't like about it is, rep- sure, uh, the on the Republican side where they have different views, and it's good and all, but the one thing that the Democrats do good is whether it's a horrible bill or not, they're gonna all stick together and pass whatever they need to pass. This is why, when the Democrats are in charge, they always get all their BS pushed through because they all stick together no matter what. But then when the Republicans have the House, Senate, and the presidency, they never want to stick together to pass anything because there's always, oh, I have my moral vote or whatever, blah blah blah. It's detrimental sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. But I also look at it, why is it that none of them can never be bipartisan? It's always one or two, maybe five at best. This is the problem that we have in Congress. This is why they don't get nothing done, nothing substantial, because is everybody is completely loyal to their party, no matter what. They don't believe in bipartisan. And I'm sorry, the purpose of Congress is to be bipartisan because you have these two major parties, Republicans, Democrat. Yes, they're independents and they're Greens, but the people that make up Congress are Republicans and Democrats. And these are two people with two ideologies. But even if you have two different ideologies, this is one nation, this is one union, you have to still come to an agreement. So why is it that they always, when it's time to pass a budget or any major bill, it's like showtime at the Apollo, or a Floyd Mayweather boxing event? Everyone's going into the media. Everybody's blaming the other side. Just do your job.
That's why I like. I'm starting to like Senator Fetterman, because he has some BS policies that he still stands for. Like he's okay with dudes in women's sports and stuff, but he's more common sense. He is on some things. He's more common sense, and he's the only one. Imagine that the guy who had what do you have? Aneurysm or something?
Like a stroke, yeah,
He had
some
a
type of
stroke or
stroke.
something. He was mentally incompetent, and then now he's the sane one of the party right now.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know
I don't know.
who's going to lead the Democrats, Dana. Who do you think? I mean, Schumer. How many years could Schumer, Pelosi, all these people have left? They're aged. They shouldn't even be in Congress or the Senate. In my book, who is going to
Congress is
be
like
the
an old
leader?
folks' home, Peter.
It's crazy. It's geriatric.
It is, but Hakeem Jeffries, he's the minority leader. Is he stepping up? They don't really have the reason why. For me, I think the Democrats don't have a real leader. Is because everybody wants to lead. That's the probably why Jasmine Crockett going on, her media tours. You got Al Green going on the Breakfast Club, interrupting the president. The Republican leader is Donald Trump. But at least they have a clear leader. The Democrats haven't had a leader, and I don't know how long. Nobody really respects Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer. They just have seniority and they're ruthless. But they're not really respected. And and it is time for them to sit down. But who's going to replace them that have common sense? I would say Cory Booker. He would be a good leader, but I think they have so much dirt on him. You know, he's walking a fine line. And I say Cory Booker because he is he does try to come to the table and with some type of bipartisan. I will say that.
Yeah, but from his days in Newark, I know a lot of people who know him, and like you said, there's a lot of skeletons in his closet. So I don't, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it, past the finish line to become, in a leader to have a leadership position in the Democratic Party.
And Hakeem Jeffries, like, dang, I understand thinking before you speak, but thinking for every single word with a 5 second pause in between, that shit is irritating to listen to.
It is. So let me just say this for the room, guys. Listen, this is 40-minute debate, conversation, discussion. So at 10:50, 10:55, it's a wrap. And that's what I want to start doing. I want to get in, get out, but I want to have good discussion. So if you want to request to come up, please do. We're talking about the government shutdown, Michelle Obama, grifting podcast, and anything else that you guys want to mention. But it is a time frame of 45 minutes because that's all I could give on a Thursday and a Friday.
Dana, do you see the Democratic Party dropping the trans ideology and the whole backing of that community? Because I think that's the only
No,
way you bring regular people back into the fold and actually start winning again. I can't see regular people. They're still bonkers with all these policies that they're pushing.
nah, Peter, they're hardcore stuck to that one.
Yeah, but okay, there's no benefit. And I will say this about the Democrats. They are going they're going to push whatever narrative that's going to benefit them. It's not a benefit pushing the trans thing anymore because with this new administration and with the Republicans controlling Congress, these organizations, they're not going to get all that extra funding. And he rolled back that pronoun stuff and everything. So they need to find a new narrative. But part I think for me, the problem that the Democrat Party is having, they never took accountability for the reason why they got slaughtered. Not just lost, but just slaughtered. And that is because of the open border. They lost the race. They didn't have a prayer in hell because for the last 3 years, we literally had an open border. And then on top of that, they spent almost $1 trillion on illegal migrants using our taxpayer dollars. And then we went into somewhat of a recession. Inflation went sky high, gas went high, grocery prices went high, housing went high because you had an open border. So how do you come back from that?
Right. And they're still tone deaf. They still don't recognize that. They still are saying and doubling down or tripling down even on, well, it's just that because it's a racist and misogynistic country. And that's the reason that we lost, and that's why we're going to continue to lose because of these racists and misogynists. It's crazy.
Well,
They don't look at reality.
Peter, and they are the best at utilizing emotion, right? Like I'm reading a tweet from Chuck Schumer from 1028 today. He said, "The cruelty of the richest man in the world telling tens of millions of seniors that he wants to eliminate, in quotes, their Social Security, that their checks are part of one big scam. Elon Musk is clueless about what it means to rely on that check to buy food and medicine. Democrats are fighting for seniors." It's that's literally everything they always go to is racism, emotions, and Republicans want to cut Medicaid and Social Security.
Right, but it's okay for them to be in bed with APAC and be pushing a Jewish agenda. That's perfectly fine. It's such a clown show.
Yeah, they're pushing everybody's agenda except for the American people. Somebody just tweeted egg prices January 21st, $6.55. Today, $4.89, 25% down. Now, what they are talking about, the Democrats, is the tariffs, right? The tariffs that Trump put on Canada and I believe Mexico, right? So if I know the tariffs, that's already started with Canada, and basically we may see an increase in, I guess, cars or whatever other products, but he also wants to eliminate taxes for people making 150K and less a year. No taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime. So what he's doing is really balancing the scales, and he's being very transparent because he did say, yeah, American people, you are going to feel a pinch. It's going to be short term, but you are going to feel it in the beginning. So I don't know when the tax-free gratuity overtime, or even the 150K or less salary is going to take place. But when all of these things are really rolled out and implemented, people are going to see a lot of money in their pockets. So if you are paying more now, or if you penny pinching a little bit more and not spending as much because you may see the effects of the tariffs, I think Trump wants us to look down the line, longevity, and not just today. I think we're going to benefit 8 to 12 months from now in a big way. Like it's going to pay off.
So I watched
If he
Howard.
gets
I watched a clarification from Howard Lutnick earlier today, and he said that essentially the no tax on tips and overtime and all that stuff, they're trying to get that into not this bill but the big beautiful bill, as the president says. They're trying to get that into law so they can pass that, and that they're trying to do right away with that big bill they're trying to get. The As far as the no taxes and stuff like that, um essentially they want to try to get to that probably 2 years down the line or 3 years down the line, from what Howard Lutnick said. But that's not going to be right away, because first they got to get the reset the economy. And uh, a lot of people, most people probably didn't even know that we were getting tariff the hell out of our own production when sending commodities overseas, and we're getting the short end of the stick, where we're only tariffing them minuscule amounts compared to what they're tariffing us.
Yeah, I think it was India. We were sending some product to India, and they were putting like 300% on top of whatever we sent over there. So yeah, I mean, to both of your guys' point, I mean, this balances the scales. If we see short-term pain, it's going to be less painful than what we saw over the last 4 years under Biden. And at the end of the day, going into 2026, 2027, if it starts to turn around, you're going to be in much better shape. I mean, think about how much money people who make less than 150K will be able to save by not paying taxes on that. You roughly pay 30% of your income in to taxes, excuse me. And so imagine keeping that money and then putting it into something where you could save it, or you could even see it hit a multiple, right? Because he's also been talking about, if you invest into specific cryptocurrencies, having no capital gains tax. That's huge. That's another 20% on what you've earned that you're profiting on, that you're getting to keep. I mean, it's a no-brainer. He'll if he gets that off and is able to get rid of the IRS in the format that it has been, and makes it something different, I think he'll go down as like one of the greatest presidents ever. Just from those things.
Let me ask you this question. What is the majority? I would say this majority of this nation of people, working people, make 150 or less. What is that? 70% of our nation, or maybe 80%?
It's around 90%.
90. Oh, damn. 90%. Yeah.
It's a little bit higher. I forget the exact number that Secretary
150
Ludnick
and less.
said. Yeah, the average
Right.
medium is 60, but around above it's above 90%.
Yeah. See, and so are the Democrats going to push back against no taxes on overtime, no taxes on gratuity and tips, no taxes on 150K or less salary? I dare them to try to
Of
push
course
back on
they
that.
are, because they don't want to give bad orange man a win. That's how they roll.
But it's the perfect setup, right? Like in combination with Doge. people are going to say, wait a second, you want to keep paying the taxes that you're robbing, you're taking to grift back to yourself through NGOs, paying for condoms to other countries, paying for transsexual studies on transsexual.
Speak. We got about 15 more minutes. Because like I said, this is a 45-minute debate discussion or what have you. So if you want to request to come up, please do so. Anybody want to mention about Michelle Obama, her new podcast with her brother, just the Obama legacy?
I just want
I
to
think it's
say,
funny that nobody tuned in, right? It was,
yeah,
what was it, 14,000 views?
yeah, go read the comments. The comments are gold.
Well, on YouTube, she got like 47,000 in 24 hours. So she's.
Oh, now it's at 47. Last time I saw it, it was 14K. But yeah, 47. But even so, 47. Think about it. It's the former first lady. Like what? How? It's mind boggling.
Isn't this her
And it
second podcast?
I think she had 4 episodes already.
No, but I know Obama had one with Bruce Springsteen, but I could have sworn Michelle had one with somebody else, like maybe a year or two ago. But then they had their books. She has nothing else to do, but she's trying to. I think she's trying to remove the dirty stain of her husband because there's a lot of dirt coming out, a lot of things that he did that we didn't know about, wasn't paying attention, that's coming out now. And I think she's trying to clean up her image. And then now they're saying they're headed for a divorce. Oh, we have a speaker. I Miss Mar.
Hi, Dana. It's I, Miss Moretta.
Okay, I
Uh,
Miss Moretta. Yes. How are you?
uh, all right, how are you doing?
Good.
I love your show. I always try to get on to listen. You're very informative. I just have some concerns about Michelle Obama. I know she has a law degree and she was working in a hospital prior to Obama running for the office of the presidency. So I don't I don't see them, Obama, President Obama, and Michelle Obama doing any philanthropy, trying to help other people, just as Jimmy Carter and Rosalind Carter did. I don't see it, or it's not publicized. Um, so I know she started this new podcast, but I'm just wondering, um, why aren't they doing more to reach out, um,
I didn't think of
to
that. You're absolutely right.
I look for those things, um, because I too hold a law degree, and I always try to make time to help my family members or my friends or anyone that they know who may be in a situation whereby they need some assistance. Now, I don't publicize it or anything, but I just don't see that with them. To me, they have become too, how could you say it, Hollywoodish. They are just so into glamour in Hollywood that to me, that has just been a big turn off. I just don't like that. And I'm not saying that they have to live up to my standards or become what I want to be in my eyes. But I would like to see them give back to a community that has given much to them.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I didn't even think of that. I totally agree with you. Now, when I listened to like 20 minutes of her first episode of the podcast with her brother, it's funny though, because they were talking about their humble beginnings. But you're right. Talking about it and
Right.
doing something are two totally different things. And I heard that library or something that Obama
Yeah.
had built in Chicago.
Yes.
Um, First, it does nothing for the community that it's in. They don't give back. And I think, isn't the Trump administration not giving them any more money?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's some type of controversy going on with that. But you're right. We have not seen or heard of any type of charity or
Right,
philanthropy or community outreach
right, right.
to any Americans, but
It,
especially Black.
and even in the Chicago area, where it is greatly needed at this time, because you did a program one night where you had this lady on, she was talking about the school system. Well, that's the same school system that taught Michelle and her brother.
Exactly.
So, are they taking
Obama only comes out every 4 years to pander to the Black community for votes.
and that's what I see. That's what I've seen, and I'm tired of that. And I'm moving more to the right, so to speak. Um, and I'm moving more to the right because I'm just not happy with the Democratic Party, with a lot of things that they're trying to shove down. Yes, I'm older. I'm from a generation from the 60s and 70s. Yes. But I just don't like the way that they've taken the Democratic Party. I don't.
I think this.
I miss
Okay.
oh,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I miss Coretta. Um, my whole family before my whole family was Democrat. A lot of them still are, and I told them, the Democrat Party of the 60s, 70s, 80s, late 90s are not the Democrat
Yes,
Party
sir.
of today at all.
Absolutely.
They
I
complete
agree.
since when did the Democrat Party become the party of big government, endless wars? It
Hmm.
completely flipped. The
Hmm.
Democrat Party back then would not tolerate any of this, but it's completely flipped now. Now the Democrat Party and Republican Party completely flipped, and it's opposite.
It sure is. And for one thing, I see is that um, the Republican Party put religion back into politics. The Democrats took religion out. That has been one thing that I've noticed very, very.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they don't talk about religion anymore, and the Democratic Party used to. I mean, when I was growing up,
Yeah,
but no
because
more.
in the Black community, you know, it was, of course, majority of Black people are Democrats, but
Right.
you're talking about churchgoers,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and who was it? Representative Adam Clayton Powell.
Right.
He represented in Harlem when it
Right.
was he did a lot for his district and
He
for
sure
this
did.
nation.
He sure
But
did.
yeah, and every time it was time for him to campaign, he went straight to the churches in Harlem because that's
Yeah.
where Black people were.
Right. That's right.
Um, we have a new speaker. Hi, Deborah.
Hey, I'm in the right space. I was trying to get into your space and I got into somebody else's space. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm learning about this platform. What happened was with the Republicans, like everybody kind of knew, or when I was growing up, like there was always politicians sneaking into the back doors of churches, telling people who to vote for or whatever. But when George Bush too, the second Bush became president, the Republicans started kind of meandering and taking on our model. And then I don't know when Church left the Democratic Party. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, it seems like the Republicans are the ones that are on that bandwagon. And it seems like everybody else is trying to like knock God out of the space, but the nation was built under God. So I mean it's like that, but it's a lot of craziness going on. And thank you for your space because I think you have one of the best spaces out there for what's going on now. I love the way you do your homework, and you're asking the right questions. And it's probably cool that you have kids because you're looking out for them. But like I said, and I say every time I get onto somebody's platforms, I'm looking out for the kids because they are totally destroying it for them. And I'm reading this stuff about this government shutdown, and they're saying that Michelle was getting money, when usually wives don't get money. It's like there was a lot of oversight that disappeared sometime. It must have disappeared after George Bush too. I mean, and I wish somebody would speak up on that. I wish Trump or Elon Musk or somebody would speak up on that so everybody will understand that, hey, yeah, we used to have this oversight stuff all the time, and this stuff, these monies wouldn't go missing. So, but thank you, and I'll let someone else.
We have Shakira. Did I say it right?
Yes. Hi,
Oh, Dan,
Dana.
Huh?
I'm sorry, real quick, just to respond to Deborah. Deborah, it flipped when um the Democratic Party started to make right wrong and wrong right. And in Isaiah 5:20, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who make darkness light and light darkness, who make bitter sweet and sweet bitter. That's literally what happened.
All right. Go ahead, Shakira.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Dana, for having me. I'm just looking at this whole picture from a completely different lens. Especially being like a young wife, it's very disheartening to see a couple fall apart by the doings of the husband, and she's left to kind of clean it up. And it's kind of frustrating, especially with the conversation around marriage and things like that. It's just not a good look, and especially when you see Barack Obama, he's out with these NBA stars,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Edwards, and he's just kicking it. It's just, and she's just left cleaning it up. It's just so disheartening, and I just really, like, I don't know, I empathize with her, but I also, she doesn't have to she's not validated through him. And I don't know, I just really hope that she don't find herself trying to clean up his mess.
And that's what it looks like she's doing subliminally. Like, yeah, because they're never going to come out and say, not even remotely hint to something like that, because they're very slick about it. But that's the optics. That's what it looks like, because it's just recently all this stuff with him with a woman at a restaurant. Yes, like you said, the basketball games, the divorce rumors, and now she has this podcast with her brother. So it's like, what are we doing here? Carrie, Carrie, you got mute.
Carrie, you got to open your mic.
I think she's talking, but she's so far away we can't barely hear her.
And it looks like she's muted.
Yeah, I haven't seen her mic unmute.
Yeah. Because we got 10 more minutes. So, all right. Maybe I don't know, maybe she can unmute. Sometimes people have a problem unmuting. So we have an open floor. Anybody want to?
I want to jump in right there where she came in. I think Michelle. I worked on the campaign, at the beginning in 2007, and Michelle was the one that got him elected, because when Michelle came to Harlem, she spoke, to the young Brooklyn for Barack group. She seems to be a pretty classy lady, and I think she knows that she got him elected. But I'm not sure if I should mention this. But have you guys seen the deconstruction of the birth certificate? Have you seen? I saw one because I'm on technology sites, and this young man, I think this is in February, he deconstructed Obama's birth certificate on the WhiteHouse.gov website using Photoshop. And if somebody actually did that, they did it hurriedly. They didn't put in layers. And then I saw another deconstruction with the FBI from this other podcaster, and the man in the FBI who deconstructed the birth certificate, he was like, he was hoping that this wouldn't be. And to me, Michelle is just stepping back, because if this is true, she didn't know it either. And if it comes out that this is absolutely true, that his birth certificate was faked, to me, she seems like she's stepping back without being forced to say anything.
She's
And
trying to clean up.
Yeah.
clean him off of her, so she can come out
Yes.
clean if
Clean.
anything,
Yeah.
yeah, pops off. I
Ain't
mean,
no way they've been married that long and she wouldn't know that that wasn't fake.
Oh, it's possible because when people are coming from other countries, believe me, you really don't know because they come over, they can get new names, new identities. You really don't know. It's possible that she didn't know.
and I think that makes sense for Obama in his situation because his mother was part of the CIA. His stepfather, her second husband, because I don't think she was married to his father. I don't know, but he was part of the CIA. He's wealthy, and dad was
Mm-hmm.
a student. So where exactly was he born at? But Obama is a very powerful man. Make no
Mm-hmm.
mistake about it. So, is Michelle Obama grifting? I say yes, but she's doing it to save herself, basically.
Because she's smart, she's American. That's because I think if you have the American slave descendant DNA, I think that we have a different perspective on how the government runs. And I think the people who make the choices to choose these presidents, I think they know that about Obama. But I did a lot of research on Obama, and there's a New York Times article. Um, it's several years ago. It's while he was in office. When his father died, he left him some letters, and Obama never read them, but they're in the Schomburg. And when they put the article in the New York Times, he had never requested to get the letters or anything. And then there's a couple of movies on him too, that show you that he had a disconnected relationship with his father. Because from what I understand, his dad was over here getting. He went to Hawaii, or he met the mother when he was in college, and he got his bachelor's degree. Then he got his master's degree, but then he was getting ready to do the PhD, and then they did a background check on him, and they found that he had a wife in Kenya. So, and they sent him home, and supposedly uh, RFK met the man on the plane and said, "Oh, your son could be president." So, but that's because I was involved and I, dug deep. But that New York Times article too. I don't think Michelle, if something comes up, I mean, if I was her, I would back off and say, hey, I didn't know.
Yeah, well, I will say this, he needed a FBA wife.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
and we were all fooled because
Mm-hmm.
before FBA or ADOS was even a thing, wasn't even that, acronym wasn't even a thing in 2008, but we looked at him as a Black American man, and that's
Mm-hmm.
mainly because of his wife and her lineage.
Yup.
So we just lumped it all together. And but that was a major grift because we're going back to 2008. I voted for him the second time. My eyes
Mm-hmm.
didn't open up about Obama, and probably not until 2020 or towards the end of Trump's first presidency. So, he is a slickster. He is very charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
He's very smart. He's very intelligent, well connected, wealthy. He's like one of, if not the wealthiest president ever in history because he is
Mm-hmm.
a trust fund baby. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he's very powerful. But I want to go around and let
Well, Dana,
everybody.
you know that Obama's dad worked for George Bush Senior, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and that they're related. So
Yeah, they're
on
tenth
his,
cousins.
yeah. So I want to go around and have everybody give their final thoughts, and I also wanted to bring up, the I didn't know it was protesters stormed the Trump Towers in New York City today.
Mm-hmm.
What was that
Mm-hmm.
about? Like, okay.
That's because of the Muhammad Khalil incident. They're trying to make it a First Amendment issue, but it's really not. But I'm glad the police started, you know,
Well, you're
grabbing
trespassing on
and getting
private
him out of there.
property. Trust,
Right.
trust,
Exactly.
yeah. So, let me go to Shakira and Miss Marietta. Did,
Oh, oh, Dana, I just want to summarize and say, thank you so much for allowing me to speak. And I just wish that President Obama and Michelle would just rethink the way that they're doing things and try to do more outreach to the Black community. That's all I have in summation to say, that I would like to see them do more outreach. I don't know how they feel about publicity, but they do seem to garner a lot of publicity.
Yeah, I agree. Shakira?
I don't have anything else to say, but thank you so much for having me up, Dana. It's always good listening to you guys.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you coming up. Deborah.
Um, I think they really love I think the mamas really love that Hollywood feeling, because when we were working here, Dana, I don't know where you were in 2007, but if you were anywhere near Brooklyn, like there were so many people on the ground and everybody was so happy, and people were taking their cell phone bill money to make posters. And but then as soon as he you know got the nomination, everybody was told to join Facebook because we wouldn't have any access, to what was going to happen. And then he just kind of like kicked aside all of the FBAs, and there were certain requirements that you had to have, to get hired. And at one of the events, I shook his hand, and I wish I had never shook it because it was so soft. And he tried to change it. Yeah, he tried to change it. He walked around. I mean, he walked, and when because then I learned to grip a hand when you're shaking it. So he walked away and then he turned around, but he couldn't change it. And it was at that moment I'm like, oh my God. But I woke up to him probably like 2010 because I was upset that he did that beer garden thing. I thought that was really stupid. And then I also thought that when he had the bankers buy the balls, he should have been making sure that the mortgages were tied to the bankers that he was bailing out. He should have been bailing out the people, not the bankers. And I'm like, you either don't understand economics or you don't care. And then I've heard Judge Joe Brown speak about the account that he had. And Dana, thank you for letting me speak. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming up. I hear the jazz music in the background.
Oh, you do?
She grooving at night. R3.
Oh, nah. Yeah, nothing's gonna change. Millionaires are gonna be millionaires. He reached the outer levels of the stratosphere wherever he's at his space. Tupac did more for the black community than Obama will ever. That's all I got.
Well, I think it would be equal because what did Tupac do besides put out music? Now, I will say this about Tupac, honey, because when he put out "Keep Your Head Out," because I was a teenage mom, and when that song came out, I was pregnant with my daughter, and honestly, that really lifted my spirits. That really helped me. So I agree with you there. That is true because a lot of times music heals us. Peter. This is a good
Yeah.
space. 45 minutes, honey. Yes. First 10 minutes, I wait for people to get in, and at 10:10, so it's 10 p.m. Thursday, Friday at 10:10, start the conversation, 45 minutes. Um, what's your
Yeah, nice, short, sweet, in and out. I agree with pretty much what everybody said. I think that the grifting they're gonna try to continue it. They're in their last gasp, and I'm excited to see, what's going to continue happening with Doge, and I'm excited to see the re-masculine uh, edification of the black male and them moving now further away from the Democratic Party, which is just really destroying the country and is doing nothing good for anybody and has done nothing for anybody in the last 30 or 40 years. So I'm excited for it, and I hope we continue and move into a great era of prosperity for everybody in the country. And yeah, that's all I got.
Oh, and real quick before you
Mhm.
go, don't be fooled by Gavin Newsom. I'm here in California. He's trying to rebrand himself for 2028. Don't be fooled by Gavin Newsom. Imagine this: the fifth largest economy in the world has a massive budget deficit. The state is ran through the ground, and yet they still want money from the federal government. Yeah, don't be fooled by Gavin Newsom. He's a slick talker. He's going to try to run and try to take the reins. Just be on the lookout for him.
Yeah, and to that point, I heard Kamala is polling so poorly she might not even run for governor in California. That they're actually trying to give it, I think, to that woman Katie Hobbs. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch as well.
Yeah, Kamala needs to do what Obama did. Go to Hollywood because I know she signed with that CAA agency. So, but or just stay quiet, Miss Thing. Just stay quiet. But listen, thank you guys, all the speakers that came out. Really appreciate you. Great insight. All the listeners appreciate you guys as well. And we will be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow, you know what? I am going to talk about reparations tomorrow. Yes, because it's part of pop culture. What was it? Slim Thug was on Willie D podcast and he spoke about reparations. And I think somebody else said something about it as well. So that's gonna be part of the conversation. And I also want to incorporate the new tax agenda, Trump's tax agenda, because I think that we need to start also having conversations about, okay, these tax breaks that he's giving the American people, the middle class, what can we do to save, to invest on our level, to generate some type of wealth or just a big fat savings piggy bank. So,
Dana, we ain't saving nothing. We getting $30,000 back from not getting taxed. We spending it. We're boosting the economy.
well, of course, but I think that we should be investing as well. So, okay.
Dana, I would say Bitcoin. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. That's what I would say.
Always, all day long.
Well, how about tomorrow? We're gonna have the reparations talk, and then we'll do Bitcoin for third graders because I don't understand it. So you got just do the baby step Bitcoin for third graders tomorrow, and we're gonna have the reparations conversation, i.e., Slim Thug. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. See you guys tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.
Good night, Dana. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.